T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rock the world. Rock the world. With me, no worries, come with me. No worries, just come with me. No worries, just come with me.
Yeah, what's up? What's good? What's happening, y'all? Welcome to the King and Me show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle.
We saw in the chat that my homeboy CJ was like, I always call you his lady. And I do. I do realize that in the homie chat, I just referred to you as my lady. But if you watch the King and Me show, which I've talked about this, we
bad.
always start our intro the exact same way. I introduce myself as King and she says,
Hey, y'all. I'm Michelle. How y'all doing?
or you will say, I'm me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, I'm me, Michelle. How y'all
Ooh,
doing?
and show your nails again.
Oh,
They're not going to be able to see it the proper way because of the LUT that we have. But she got a nice little red and white situation going. Tell the people why you have that.
because yesterday, my line sisters and I celebrated 12 years of sisterhood, service, and scholarship with the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And Wednesday, the 17th, our chapter will celebrate 20 years of being founded. So we're going to a party on Saturday to celebrate our 20th anniversary. So I'm just like, you about to get all Delta down, okay?
That's what's up. Now,
Delta Sigma Theta is the only way. Taj may disagree, but I love you, sis. I love you. I love you.
speaking of Taj, I saw that Taj had made an announcement on her YouTube channel, so I want to give her a congratulations on her channel milestone over there. If you're not following her, go over there and follow Free T, Free space TEA.
Yeah, she got all the good stuff over there. So please go check out our sister over there. Thank you.
Couple of minor announcements. Thanks to y'all, we have new microphones, so our audio is gonna sound a little bit better today. We're making those small incremental changes that makes, a really good product. But here at the King and Me show, we offer a real outlook on a healthy relationship. Real being relatable,
Entertaining
accountable,
and loving.
and we feel as though if you rock with those 4 elements, you can get into a relationship and have a healthy relationship. If you're lacking one of those, might have some rough times, all right? So we go live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern to talk about topics and subjects around those 4 things, and today's live stream is about accountability. Now, before we get into it, we go into Let's Get Deep, questions for couples. Tarika in the chat right there showed me that she bought it, and I recommended that when she goes on her next date, bring 3 of the questions out of there, surprise the date, and if he's with it, then maybe that's somebody that you can work something out, with, try and build something. And if they look at you like this might be weird or that's too much, then maybe that's not the person for you. But we do recommend this. They have what's called an icebreaker, a deep and a deeper question, and we always start with the icebreaker.
All right, what shows are you into right now?
I'm heavy into X-Men 97 on Disney Plus, And I just started watching Fallout on Amazon Prime. I've been like episode 3, and it's pretty good. It's really close to how the video game story is. How about you?
What episode are they on for X-Men 97? Because I started watching it too, and I think maybe the last one I finished was 4.
When we get done with this, go home and watch episode 5.
Okay.
So they've got to do 5 episodes. If you've avoided spoilers,
oh, I do.
Okay. I want you to call me when you've watched it.
Okay.
Like if you don't watch it today, definitely make it a priority tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to the gym tomorrow, so I could watch it then, but the way my attention deficit is set up, I'm going to watch it tonight. So speaking of which, because of that, what shows am I watching? I know I irritated you when I started watching The Resident on, on Netflix and then just stopped. Yeah, I'm cold-blooded like that because I really haven't picked it back up. I'm done with it. So right now, I'm watching Abbott Elementary, X-Men 97, you know, things that strike my fancy, whatever random stuff I find.
All right.
Name one thing you've been wanting to do but have been pushing off.
Ooh. Well, since I had COVID, was it last week?
It was the week before that.
The week before that, yes. I have not gotten back in the routine of working out yet. I'm going to give it a go again tomorrow and try to get back on the horse and pick that up. So get my behind back in the gym.
Okay. So for me, it was learning ASL. I've been talking about it for years, and I made a promise to myself that when that last master's program finished, that I would go ahead and jump in and start taking ASL. I did wait a little bit, but then we started taking ASL at the beginning of the year. So that was one thing that I had been putting off, but now I'm doing it. So I'm happy.
Yes, and you've been teaching me. You and my daughter are going to ASL class starting this week.
This Wednesday.
And I'm going to use you as my teacher.
This Wednesday, yes.
But I think it's dope that y'all are doing that together, so that'd be pretty cool. I told her that I wasn't doing it, and if she was still okay with doing it, she goes, so Michelle's gonna be there. Like, of course, like I'm okay with doing it because she really likes you.
I like her too, and I feel like we're gonna learn ASL and we're gonna talk about you behind your back. That's neither.
Hey, that's all right, because I'll be motivated to learn if I realize people talking about me. Like, that's how I am getting pedicures. Like, I go into Chinese, and I know the way my feet be looking, I know they be talking about my feet. So, like, sometimes, one of these days, I'm going with one of those earbuds that can do the active translation and then catch them talking about my feet.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know, because if you know, then you're not going to go back, or you might say something.
Hey, if the price is right, I don't care what you say. What's our deeper?
If you could have a video of any moment in your life, which would you pick and why?
One of my best football games that I had back in high school, I balled out, had 180 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it's one of the game films that I don't have. And somebody has it somewhere. I just don't know who, because it's on a VHS tape. You know, with smartphones now, you can record and load up stuff on Facebook and in the cloud or whatever. But that was a really good moment for me. You can't just replicate running for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns in a football game. And I'd like to be able to relive my old glory days a little bit. I still think I can play. Just saying. What's your answer?
I am going to go so stereotypical and say that I wish I had video of me entering this world. That moment at 1:45 p.m. on September 3rd of a year that I'm not going to say, that the world just became better because at good old Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, sunshine came into this world. You know, like, I'd like to see footage of that. I think it'd be cool.
So you're of a JJ exit.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you put it like that.
Okay. Cool. Very, very cool. Now, let's get some of the market stuff out the way before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's topic. We're streaming on multiple platforms: Facebook,
all the platforms,
YouTube, and X. And if you're watching us on Facebook, we're also simulcasting on Perry Productions. Shout out to my homie for allowing us to live stream on his channel as well. If there's a like button on the platform, do us a favor. It's free. Hit the like button for us. If you don't, somebody in Africa is going to get one less chicken wing.
Oh.
All right? That's all I'm saying.
And then also don't forget to go ahead, any of the places where you're catching us. If you go, you'll see a link that'll take you to our link tree and you can find out where we are. So we do have a LinkedIn page. Yes, we do. We're following lots of artists on that page. We have an Instagram page. We have a TikTok account. Like, you want to go check us out, follow all the things, because we post random content and you don't want to miss a single thing.
Oh, and our Spotify's jumping. And
Spotify.
if you have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, which is about to go, I guess, to YouTube Podcasts or whatever, follow our audio only podcast as well, because we'll do exclusive stuff just on the audio only podcast platforms that we have. So if you're not following us on any of the audio only podcasts, follow us over there as well. Link is in the description. Now, we started out saying that in the month of April, we were going to talk about our moniker. 2 episodes ago, we talked about being relatable in a relationship.
Right.
Last week's episode was about being entertaining, but not like I need you to entertain me or whatnot, but just how laughter is important in a relationship and things like that.
It was also about me beating you in Uno.
And yes, we played the whole episode essentially playing Uno, and you won.
I won.
You know.
And what I love most about it is that it was on camera. So like I can go back to that moment over and over and over again and be like, I won.
You know I got AI skills, babe. I can swap them things out.
But then there are people who know the real truth. Like, somebody
but
knows
are they looking at the real one, or was the real one the deep fake and the actual real one was the real one?
Why would you try to take my victory away?
Because I want to win at all costs.
I won. Elbow.
I want my rematch.
So you can lose again? Like, I don't understand why you keep setting yourself up for it.
Wow.
This was the rematch. This was a rematch to the cabin. Still won. But, okay, I love you.
Today's episode, if you read the title, is about accountability, the third one that we have. All right? Tarika said, don't be doing the queen like that. Yes, ma'am. So we have a video that we're going to play. Take a listen to the video, and we're going to come back and talk about it.
Okay.
A lot of people don't want to admit this, but let's be real. You are responsible for your own misery. For a lot of us, accountability is such a tough thing to accept. But we don't want to admit that we are the ones that are responsible for the things we allow, the things we accept, the things we continue to grow in our lives. And that's why we look for everything as an excuse. We try to make the claim that this is how I was treated, that this is what was done to me, that you look at your past and you make that the center point of everything you've ever done, because it's so hard to be honest with yourself, to say that you have to be accountable. It's so hard to admit that you have to do something. Because let's be real, no one wants to do anything. You would rather just let things happen and unfold and not be responsible. But when you have to be responsible, that's when things get hard. When you have to be accountable, then you are the reason why things don't change. You are the reason why you continue the rut you're in. You are the reason why life hasn't been different. At some point, you have to take accountability for you and stop making an excuse as to why you aren't where you want to be.
That was a whole bar. And what he said in totality is the reason why you and I can have a healthy relationship. So let me start.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? I've said several times during our live streams that it was a good thing we met when we met, because we would not have had anything, I don't think on any level, if we would have met if I hadn't taken accountability for my life and you hadn't taken any accountability in your life. I'm gonna tell you, I found it sexy. Not the fact that I thought that you looked good.
Okay, I'm listening.
But with everything that I saw in your public profile, and then in the conversations that you and I had, where apparently we would stay on the phone all hours of the night.
All hours of the night, like we would fall asleep. Like I'd fall asleep and the phone would be right there next to me, and then I'd hear some snoring on the other end, and I'd be like, "Oh, he's still here."
I heard a woman that at her age was accountable for the things that had gone on in your past and everything. And not only that, but you were okay being vulnerable, talking about where you weren't and how that made you feel. And I think to some people, you would put on the front because you're like, I'm trying to get this man, and I don't want this man to see my flaws. So I'm going to put my very best foot forward for then have somebody discover what those flaws are and decide. I don't operate like that. And as a matter of fact, I'm like, I'm gonna raise my hand. Here's everything you need to know about me. Some stuff you're going to just find out along the way. But here's everything you need to know about me now. Make the decision early on because look, I do like you. I think you're dope. I did tell you early on, I said, I'm not looking for a relationship right now though. I was very clear about that.
Very clear.
Everybody else was saying, bro, that woman is awesome. I could tell by the way you look at her and talk about it that you like her. Why don't you want the relationship? And I'm like, well, I still have some things that I want to achieve and get done. And I'm just not entirely too sure that putting energy into a relationship and accomplish the things that I want to accomplish can mesh well, right? But as we started talking, I shared those things with you. But we came together at the beginning being accountable for who we were as individuals. And I love that. It was one of the things that I found attractive about you. Not just the fact that I liked how you looked, but I liked how accountable you were for where you were in life.
So you said a whole bar, and I just want to point what you said out that stood out to me. Yeah, a whole bunch out. You said that I didn't just tell you what I wanted you to hear so that I could get the man. And you're right. Because for me, it wasn't about getting you. It was being able to be with you and have you for a lifetime. Like, not just, I didn't want to just get the man and then lose the man. I wanted to be able to keep the man, to be able to retain the man. And the only thing that's going to allow you in a relationship to keep that partner that you're with is to continue to be hot. So honest, open, and transparent. Shout out to the real precious. That's the only thing that's going to allow you to be able to keep that person that you're with. So for me, it was critically important for me to be honest with you, to share everything. I overshare. Yes, there's a lot that's about me public facing, but I wanted you to hear those things from my mouth so that you can make decisions based on what you're hearing from me.
Now, Tariq in the chat said, I believe that I was scared. King just admitted that you were scared like some of us. We will be scared to give people a chance. It wasn't being scared to give her a chance. It was trying to decide. I had a very clear direction of what I wanted the next 5 years to look like. It didn't involve a relationship. I was very happy with where I was at and who I was spending time with and all of that stuff because it was very temporary, right? So I didn't want to start anything with her and it be temporary. It wasn't fair to her because I knew, or I ain't gonna say I knew, I had an understanding of where she was coming at early on and she wasn't looking for anything temporary. Not saying that you were looking for anything long term either, but I didn't want to waste your time on something that we might not have been aligned with, you know what I'm saying, at the time. But what had me kind of stay around was, like I said earlier, I thought you were dope. I'm like, this is a dope person. So it wasn't necessarily being scared to have her a relationship with her. It was, I got this 5-year plan. I wanted to get past my daughter graduating high school first, getting a different place, like figuring out where I was going to move to, and then kind of start making other decisions going forward from that point. And all of this stuff was things that I shared with her early on. And I just didn't think that it would be compatible with what she might have had going on. Because she was living in Maryland, working in Maryland and things like that. I wasn't sure if she was willing to move where I was talking about moving to. I also, on your blogs, you talked about finding yourself a husband and things like that. And I raised my hand and told her very early on, I was married once. I'm not sure if I want to do that ish again.
I don't know if that's exactly what you said.
Everybody said I said never. CJ, yeah, your name is CJ on here. Did I ever say never? Did I ever say never? People may have thought that I sounded and talked like I was speaking from a neverdom.
If it walks like a never and talks like a never, it's a never.
But I never said never. Because I try my best not to speak in absolutes because all things are possible. I've won the lottery twice. Most people say, oh, you'll never win the lottery. I've won twice. Not a big amount, not FU money, but So coming from what that guy said in the video that we shared earlier, it starts with being accountable here first.
Right.
Now, how do you feel about the things that you have? I'm going to be recent over the last 2 years and personal accountability for the stuff that you've done in your life and like where you're at. Just kind of talk about that a bit.
So how do I feel about where I've been the last 2
Yes,
years?
and your own actions towards that.
So for that, the 2 years? I mean, yeah, okay. So 2 years ago, this time, you and I weren't together. I was coming out of a relationship and I recognized my flaws in that relationship. One of my greatest flaws in that relationship is that I continued to give opportunities and chances to a person who continued to show me who he truly was and wasn't deserving of those extra opportunities. I also know that I have always been very upfront and honest about wanting longevity. I want something real. I want something that is real, but I also want something that's going to last. Don't give me fool's gold and have me thinking that, I've really hit the lottery. I want that real thing. So for me, that was something that I was always looking for. And I will honestly say I didn't necessarily go about that the right way. But when I finally started shifting and pouring back into myself and really digging deeper, pushing forward in my faith and really understanding like who I am and what will really make me happy. Like I remember when I was young in my teens and 20s, I would write these checklists of the man that I wanted.
Seem like a checklist person.
Of course I'm a checklist person. So I had this checklist of the man that I wanted. And as I got older, that list got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because I realized that the man that I'm supposed to be with is going to have one main thing, or the only thing that I want on my checklist is whatever I'm asking him to be, I need to be the same thing.
Ooh.
And that's what my checklist boiled down to.
Okay.
That's literally the only thing on my checklist.
That's actually important.
I need my man to be exactly what I plan on being for him. And not like, oh, he's going to be petty, I'm going to be petty too. No. Like if I'm asking my man to be respectful and respectable, then I need to be respectful and respectable. If I'm asking my man to be emotionally mature and vulnerable, then I need to be emotionally mature and vulnerable. So whatever I need him to be, I need to be the same thing. That was the only thing on my checklist.
That's
the only thing on my checklist.
That's what I see that's killing a lot of relationships today. Is people not being what they require the other person to be. And that's on both sides. Mm-hmm. That's on both sides. And I'm trying to figure out the why. Like, why are we getting to relationships? If you're young and you don't know any better, that's one thing. I think, yes, I think people in their 20s, if you're experimenting, right? You're trying to figure out what it is that you like, what it is that you respect. And what it is, I'm not even gonna say this. I don't like when people say what you tolerate from somebody. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit more in my head because I don't like the thought of saying, well, I know I'm with Michelle, but she does this one thing and I tolerate it because I love her. No, that to me, that's not right. But getting back to my thought, I think that as you get older, you really start to realize the things about yourself and the things about others that you're willing to deal with. It's one of the reasons why, and I'm just going to say it. People who are in DV situations and they stay in those situations. I'm always like, why did you tolerate that person going upside your head? all these years, like all this time. I heard of a situation where somebody was in one for 6 years.
Well, so that's a different nuance. And the only reason I say that is because that has affected my home. And I never thought that that would be something that came to impact my family. But it was. And sometimes you don't realize it's happening to you. Like, as crazy as that sounds, you don't realize.
You don't realize you getting ding dong upside your head like a
it's kind of
whack-a-mole?
like I've been so strong and I've done X, Y, and Z in life. Like, I can't believe this is really happening to me. Like, there must be some explanation. Like, that's a one-off thing. It's not going to happen again. So, and I hate to use this word, but it's kind of like the best word. You're kind of like delusional on what's like really, really happening. Other times there's no safe way of escape. I don't know if I ever told you, but one of my volunteer experiences that I had growing up in Baltimore, I volunteered at a women's shelter for women who were DV victims or DV survivors. And I remember just the little minute details. Like, number one, we could never give out the address of that place. Like, if you were a volunteer, you knew where it was. If you worked there, you knew where it was. But other than that, we could never give out the address. There was no, even though cell phones weren't really a thing back then, we could never really give out, take pictures or do anything like that. Some people end up there and it's like, it's not like they went and sought that. And then for some people, unfortunately, because they grew up seeing that type of love, they think that that's the love that they're supposed to have. I lost my cousin through a DV situation because apparently she had been getting abused for some time and we never knew. Like, we never ever knew. So that's the other thing. Like, there's an ugly stigma attached to it. And some people go through it in isolation and they don't tell anyone that they're going through it. And it doesn't just have to be physical. So they're in that DV situation for much longer than anyone ever knew because of shame. Like, I don't know how to ask for help, because if I ask for help, then you're going to think less of me because I sat in this situation for so long.
Keep talking.
So for some people, like, that's what they go through. And other people, again, they saw this growing up, so they believe it's healthy. Like, oh, this man doesn't love me if he don't put his hands around my neck or something like that, you know? Unfortunately, that's where some people get their thinking because that is what they saw. I never saw that, so for me, that was never a thing. However, what I saw and what I didn't see both equated to emotional abuse, and that is something that I tolerated for far longer than I should have because I couldn't recognize it.
Interesting. Now, I saw some stuff in the comments here, so let me go back up here and read this. Tarika earlier said, that's why when we're single, we need to recognize our own flaws and triggers and take accountability for the things we've been through. You wrote thongs and it made me giggle. We put ourselves in a predicament and blame everyone but ourselves. And I'm going to start right there. That right there, blame everyone but yourselves. In my current lot in life, I can see that in others really early. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you right now, the way that I think and the way that other men are starting to think and see things as well. If you're somebody that blames others instead of looking for answers within, men can see that. They're not going to consider you for anything long term. You will be fun times only. And that's if that, because men are starting to realize that there's a lot of crazy people out there too. So they're doing the risk calculations of how much do I want to deal with this crazy or not.
As you should.
But it's easy to see as somebody that has taken accountability for themselves. I can easily hear somebody talk and they can say maybe 3 or 4 words and I'm not even going to say judge. I'm going to assess right then and there if there's somebody that can take accountability or if there's somebody that dodges it like they're dodging something in dodgeball and be like, I don't want to deal with that person. Mm-hmm. So Tarika, yes, people are often blaming everyone else but themselves, and it's so easy to see now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're somebody that is looking to be in a healthy relationship with somebody, if the other person cannot take accountability, don't put yourself in a headache trying to be with that person, because they're going to do things, it is going to frustrate you, and you're going to be asking, why are you like this? What you should be asking is, why are you accepting that? I'm just going to leave that right there. Tarika also said that they're in them situations because of a trauma. And look, Michelle's known people intimately in DV situations. I don't think I've known anybody personally that I'm aware of that I can think of in the moment that's been in a DV situation. Yet, I look at a lot of things saying, like, from the perspective of, I'm the father of a 16-year-old daughter. I wanted a son because I'd rather have son problems than daughter problems. So the moment that I found out that I was having a daughter, literally all of the things about how life could affect her went through my mind.
Okay.
And I think most responsible men, most responsible fathers, they get that rush the first time that they're hearing that they're having a daughter of, holy crap, I now have to not only worry about her, but it's like all of the things that could possibly happen to her. I can't speak for all fathers, but in my opinion, I think most responsible fathers that want to ensure that they raise their daughter and raise their daughter well think that way. Mm-hmm. So I have said countless times that I would feel like a failure if my daughter got into a DV situation with a spouse or a significant other and I was not aware of it. She did not come and tell me. Let's say she loses her life because of that. I would have felt like a failure for not having equipped her to say, if you getting boxed like Mike Tyson, call your father. Or there's resources out there, right? You can text 88788, right? Get help. If there's people out there that might feel as though they don't have help. But I'm like, if you have a family member, if you have any person that calls themselves a loved one around you, I don't care that you don't feel as though you can't reach out to them. If you don't say anything, and I might catch flack for this, if you don't say anything, you failed yourself. And for me, if my daughter were to be in a situation like that and she didn't say anything to me, then I failed her as a father for not equipping her to know that she can do something about it and not just sit here and take it with her head being used as a pincushion.
Well, here's the thing, though. Not all DV is physical. The emotional and financial, that's what gets people trapped for a long period of time. The physical, we see it and we're just like, well, when they first did it, well, sometimes that first hit is the devastating one. Like, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to my cousin, I don't believe there was ever any physical abuse until he, turned off her television. Like, I think that was the only physical abuse. In which case, sometimes there was a long road of emotional abuse that went on. And I think that's where some people think, like, I hear what you're saying about your daughter, but I also want you to understand that it could be subtle emotional and financial abuse that goes unrecognized. So you're thinking about one type, but it in reality could be something else. Could be something limited. It could be something as subtle as, oh baby, I don't want you to go hang out with your friends today. Like, can you stay home with me? And like, this is like every single time. That's called isolation. So they're trying to get you away from your circle, or, well, I'm in the military, and being in the military, I'm going to be deployed over here, and we're going to go all the way to Djibouti, and this is where I'm going to serve, and you don't know absolutely anyone here. And then the moment that you get to Djibouti and you start having a circle, okay, we're moving to this place, and it's constantly moving you from your circle. That's also a level of abuse. And none of that is the abuse that you have trained, because in the isolation, listen.
I can't hide my faces.
Listen, I know.
Finish your thought.
So in the isolation, it's little things that's building up. He or she is continuing to alienate you from people who can care about you and people who will be able to look out for you and protect you. And then bam, that one thing happens that you weren't expecting. Years later, that one thing happens, and that's the thing that kind of sets things in motion. Like when I was in college, when I lived on Bowie's campus, Amy and I, she was my roommate, my best friend, we watched the same one movie every single night to go to sleep, because we both needed noise to go to sleep. And we were living in Bowie, which wasn't like Baltimore City. Like, they had crickets to put you asleep. We were used to police sirens putting us to sleep. Like, it was a whole big transition, right? So we put on the same movie every single night. Enough. Like, I can probably quote that movie.
The J-Lo movie?
The J-Lo movie.
Interesting.
Every single night, because it was the one movie that we owned on like DVD, and the one movie that we had seen so many times that it could just play as background noise for us, and we wouldn't pay it any attention.
That's Friday for me.
So see, yeah, that I would actually like stay awake and pay attention. But no, we played enough, like a million times, and to the point where her mom was like, "Haven't you had enough of enough?" And we'd be like, "No." So we watch that all the time, and one of the greatest things you see in Enough is that grooming's not the word, but he met her and he targeted her, and he specifically went through a process of putting on this whole act and charade, got her to fall in love with him, and then he switched up after the wedding. And it's sometimes, for some people, that switch up can be years down the line, when all of a sudden, when they feel like they've gotten you just to the point where you need them, and then they switch up, and then there's nothing you can do but stay there. So for some people, it's not immediate, and it's also not physical. So it's little things that are harder for people to be able to identify. And then I saw your message. I do my own locks. I have not had someone else touch my hair in 7 years. So since January or February of 2017, that was the last time somebody else put their hands in my locks.
I like how you had your hair yesterday. Did you take any pictures?
You mean when I kept telling you should see me because I looked cute?
Yes.
Yes.
I need some.
Okay, I got you, baby.
Thank you, baby. Now,
that's the wrong phone.
Let's take a little bit of a pivot. I told you before we started the show that I had an announcement to make, but I want to hear your unedited thoughts about something. So let me know when you're good enough to hear this, because it's not a lot, but it's got some layers to it.
All right, I'm sending these to you because you want pictures of your boo. I got you.
Have you ever heard me talk about Freedom Day?
Yes.
So can you tell the people what my Freedom Day is?
Freedom Day is the day that you finalized your divorce. You signed on that dotted line.
Okay, so my Freedom Day is coming up. Mm-hmm. It is this Thursday, April the 18th. Mm-hmm. In the past, when I decided to do this, I wanted to celebrate the day that I was free. And I told myself that I was going to celebrate it. Mm-hmm. I still think of that day as an important day. But my question to you, because I was talking about this to somebody else, they said I should let it go because it's a tether to like the past, and celebrating that still makes it sound as though I still have like ill feelings towards something. I was like, but it's a celebration. How is it being tethered to something that I would still have ill feelings for? So I didn't get why this person had said that. But I want to
Was
ask.
it a male or female who said that?
It was a dude.
Okay.
It was a dude. And I'm like, let me ask you, can I bring it up with you? Because I'm still going to celebrate it. And
Celebrating it at Toastmasters?
I'm not going to go to Toastmasters this week because of that. Because it's my Freedom Day.
So here's my thought on that. Number one, we have seen the countless videos of women when they finalize their divorce, they get all zhuzhed up and they go out and work, do something strange for a little bit of change.
They typically get cash and prizes too.
So, but here's the thing. But men have so many negative things to say about that because they're celebrating it.
Yeah, because they get cash and prizes.
So my question is, how is that any different from you celebrating it?
It's not.
Exactly.
I don't have any issues with it.
Okay.
Personally.
So that was one thing. And then this is my honest opinion, because you asked me here for my honest opinion. Yeah, you do kind of need to let it go.
I wanted to hear your honest opinion.
That's going to be real honest. And I say that because, number one, you don't do anything in a place of shame or anything like that. So you're very, very open with that. And I look at it like, if I were your child, regardless of her age, how would I feel hearing that my dad is celebrating the day that he and my mom were no longer together?
It's a fair point.
So that's point number two.
That's a fair point
for me. Point number three, it may be your freedom day from being in that relationship. However, the day you got into a new relationship should have been the freedom day that you're celebrating, because you wouldn't be able to be in this new relationship had that old one not ended.
What do y'all think?
I got points. Look,
Keep
you know
going.
me, I be having dissertations. So that's one thing. So I feel like don't bring attention or any energy whatsoever to April 18th, but for celebratory purposes, but celebrate October 20th. You know what I mean? That's something to celebrate because we're shifting attention. So we're no longer giving attention to that negative thing. But we're shifting it and putting it somewhere positive. Because truly, when you continue to give energy and attention and light to that, then you continue to stay in a broken place with that thing. Imagine if I celebrated the day that I failed at so many other things in my life. I continued to celebrate it. So, funny story, because you know me, I got stories for days, right? April 18th.
Okay. No, I had a joke, but go ahead. I can remember the joke.
April 18th, 2003. April 18th, 2003.
Okay.
That was an important day for me. You want to know why?
How do you...
Don't ask questions.
You were still in high school.
Yeah.
Why was it important then?
So I'm struggling to remember if it was the 18th or the 20th. But around that time, it was important for me because that's the day I passed my permit test for my driver's license.
No kidding.
Yes, so serious. I found out last minute that apparently you didn't need to go to driver's ed just to take your permit test in Maryland. So I took my permit test, passed it on the first attempt. None of my friends had done that. My mom paid for driving school, which was 5 cents cheaper than the cheapest location. Good thing I got into that because the cheaper location turned out to be no longer accredited, and everyone who had paid their money had to pay again and go to another driver's ed. But I didn't because I had gotten into the cheapest driving school using a PowerPoint presentation to convince my mom to pay for it, and it was cheapest by 5 cents.
Such a nerd.
Yes, such a nerd. Fast forward 4 months because you only had to hold your permit for a certain amount of time and then you could go and get it. So fast forward August 20th, I passed my permit the first time. I was like, I'm going to pass my driver's test the first time. So I go in there and we pull up and we're in the car and I put a piece of, Big Red gum in my mouth. And I'm just like, okay, I am going to pass this test. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good, right? And I get there and I fail on a turnabout. Which forever, because everyone who had failed their driver's test failed on the parallel parking in Maryland, because at the time that's when you could parallel park. Everyone failed on that, but that's not what I failed on. It was 2 weeks before my birthday. I was absolutely devastated. devastated. I went home and cried. The gum that I put in my mouth, I didn't chew, so like it disintegrated in my mouth and was just like, oh, ugh, was the thing. My family had to call my best friend over, tell me all of the things that I was getting for my birthday so that I could stop crying. And as soon as I finally did stop crying, one of my sisters took me out to go driving. She had the bigger car of everyone in the family. She took me to a very narrow streetway so that I could learn how to do turnabout turns. 2 days later, August 22nd, 2003, I went and I passed my driver's test.
Which sister?
My eldest sister, oddly enough, yeah. I went and I passed my driver's test. Now, which of those 2 days do you think I celebrate? The day I failed or the day I passed?
The day you passed.
Exactly. I remember it because it's 2 days apart. But the whole point of that story is both days are very pivotal to me. Both days speak volume as to who I am as a person. Both days defined me because that failure set me up for success. That failure, if I hadn't failed, my sister wouldn't have taken me into that alley to help me learn how to become better at parking. I would not have become a better person if not for that failure. But I don't celebrate the failure. I celebrate the successes that have come from it. So in answer to your question, should you still celebrate your Freedom Day? I say no. No longer celebrate that part of your life that is over. Celebrate the successes that have come since.
I see one person in a comment because I asked what they thought. If anybody else has any thoughts to that, please, whether it's on the live stream or on the replay, put it in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. Now, you did say something. You talked about all of that stuff. I can be reasoned with if something's reasonable. The part that you said that got me was about the daughter and having her see her father celebrate the day that her parents divorced. So that's the part where you had me go, that is a great point. So
yes, logic be winning.
So live on air.
Uh-oh, y'all. Uh-oh.
This will be the last day that I celebrate Freedom, or the last year that I celebrate Freedom Day. So this would have been the 5th year because it was 2019. So I am going to RIP Freedom Day that is in my calendar so that I didn't forget it. And I'm going to let it go. You know what? I might invite my daughter to come with me.
You'd have to get her.
No, I
you
can't.
Because of the play. I was going to say
can't.
you'd have to get her right after school, but now she got the play.
I can't. Yeah, she's busy. She's starting to, because she's almost a young adult. She's about to realize what real life is here real soon.
Don't go.
Hey, stay a kid as long as you
I'm trying
can.
to tell you them bills.
How did you realize that you had some accountability that you have to take care of yourself?
Because anytime something would go wrong, I would place blame on someone else. Well, if this hadn't happened then, or I know, but, justification terms. So we say that they're transitory terms that you use in your speech, but they're justification terms. And they normally start with a but, or I know, when sentences start off like that, you about to justify and you stuff like that. So
have you ever had a loved one call you out, like a romantic interest call you out on anything?
No one that I've ever been in a relationship with has checked me in love the way that you do.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. My best friends have. So romantic relationships now.
Okay, yeah, no, I think it's vital. I've said to you, I don't know if I've said it also very publicly, call me out. If I said that, if I told you that I was going to do something and I'm not doing it, call me out. Don't think that I also don't think about our contract as well. And that if I'm not doing anything that we've had in that contract, call me out. Speaking of, I think more people are starting to realize that relationships ain't just about love, and that it's more about what you contractually agree with somebody else.
Well, good.
And I think that it's a fantastic thing that more people are starting to realize that. Because in my opinion, understanding the terms of y'all's agreement is what helps you keep somebody else accountable to what they said that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that there needs to be more emphasis on that. For those of y'all that are new to us, we started out with a friendship contract because I thought that it was important because I didn't want to mix things. I saw too many people out in the world just doing things with people and it not be like a defined situation. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this lady a friendship contract so that we know what's going on. The friendship contract got upgraded to a dating contract. So we are in a contractual situation that we're honoring. And when I'm thinking about things and making decisions and choices or whatnot, I'm thinking about what we've talked about. Have I been right the entire time? No.
Have I? Yes.
Really? You think so? I mean, I can't.
You mean like, have I been
like
not messed up? No, I meant right as in not wrong.
I meant right as in like doing something because, like, for example, we had a glitch not too long ago because I be moving and shaking. You say I move like the silent G in lasagna.
Look, y'all all remember that song from Lil Wayne, Real G's moving silence like lasagna. That's him, okay? He the real G who be moving in silence. Like, you know when I found out about your tickets that you got to go to the DFL game last night on UFL. Last night on air when you were live. That's when I found out. This whole time you done put it in the calendar and everything, like our joint calendar. And I was like, well, dang. Like, I'll never know nothing. You are definitely the G.
Well, that's the thing. I be meaning to tell you stuff. But, like, in my mind, I have, like, a priority of information. Like, for example, you felt some type of way because I've gone out and I've sold stuff, right? And not necessarily, like, stuff of mine that one time, like, I had cash in my wallet and I don't keep cash. She's like, where'd you get all this cash from? And I'm like, I've been selling things, stuff that I just don't need anymore. And she's like, when? And I'm like, I don't know, over the last couple of days. And you're like, where are you meeting these people? And I had to pause for a second because I'm like, why are you asking me 1,000 questions? I've been selling things since before I've known you. I got this. Now, before you say anything.
Okay.
One of the things that I love about Michelle does things from such a place of care and love, and it drives it. And I understand that about her. So she's not asking me these things because, like, wait, he out here going places and stuff and I don't know anything about it. I knew when she was asking that her main thing was, please be safe because there's people bunking folks upside the head for
less than
$40 of stuff, and I don't want to have to find out through everything Frederick that my man got, stabbed over selling an iPhone or something. So I understand that about you. Yet, in the moment, it can be frustrating because I always come from a thing of I'm going to do what I got to do when I got to do it. And you may not know all of that because I'm going from A to B to C. Like, I'm waffling things off. And as I move from one waffle compartment to the next, I'm doing things. And if you're not around for that, or I may not be talking to you about like what's going on or things that I have, it just naturally won't come up. But when you ask me, I'm like, yeah, I sold some things. And you're like, wait, what? When?
Because I'm just like, but were you safe? Like, were you in a public location? Were you near your home in that public location? Like, were you at the Sheets that's by your home? Or did you go to, like, a different Sheet somewhere that's not closed? Like, did you get followed home? Like, that's all my mind is thinking. Like, but were you safe?
And I'm like, look, this ain't my first rodeo. Plus, I got thunder and lightning. Like, if anybody want to run up, they gonna get done up.
This is not, oh my gosh. Ellie's watching on Facebook.
Hey,
Hi,
Ellie.
Ellie.
Ellie's the reason why her and I are dating, by the way.
Yes.
So, shout out to Ellie. Roll Tide. Tell your husband I said that. There was a reason why I brought all of that up. Real G's moving silence.
You were talking about the glitch. And I personally don't view it as a glitch. I view it as, okay, it was a glitch. It was a little glitch.
So, it's okay, and you should hold somebody accountable in the relationship. But just like Michelle said earlier, you should also make sure you're doing the things that you said that you were going to do as well. And I want to talk about it because I think that this is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. And I spoke about it a little bit, maybe it was last episode, where we talked about going in circles. And in my prior marriage, I felt like, well, she's asking me to do something, but why am I going to do what she's asking when I'm not getting, you know, what it is that I'm getting?
Chicken and egg.
Yeah, the whole chicken and egg scenario. And I can raise my hand and say that for me, I feel as though I'm gonna say this very clearly. As the man, I should be leading the relationship. That's how I feel. I also have to be doing the things that, like we've said 10,000 times, I said that I was going to do. And in my prior marriage, there were some things that I slipped on. I'll raise my hand and say that. I've said that very publicly in prior live streams and podcasts and stuff that I've done over the last couple of years. But it took me being accountable to myself for me to realize that. And I've said that to the max extent possible, I will never allow that to happen again. Meaning that I have to make sure that I'm taken care of first. I'm not going to discount that there may not be a situation that I am ever depressed about. When I was depressed several years ago, I didn't know it. I like to think that having gone through it, I can see that. And also being with somebody who I think you're adept at seeing what depression looks like in others. I would hope that you are empowered enough to say something if you see that I'm in a depressed state. And the additional part to that bridge is I also have to be willing to hear it.
Yeah, that part.
And hope that things click so that I can get things turned around. I like to think that I'm a squared away person. But because I don't deal in absolutes, I can't sit here and tell you, Cheryl, I will never be depressed again. Life doesn't work that way. But I do hope that if I am ever in a situation like that, that you just don't look at me and go, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out.
But respectfully, I did. So sidebar, I want to throw in a little joke because you said hope twice.
I know. Yeah. I don't like the word hope.
You said hope twice.
I don't like that word.
In like a 30-second span. But two, did I sign up specifically for, okay, King is going to go through a season of depression today. I signed up for it. Here I am signing on the dotted line. No. But that in sickness and health stuff doesn't just talk about physical sickness. It's everything that's in between. Because I have PTSD. And while I like to think that I know what all of my triggers are, I don't.
Now, but Michelle, I hear that and I'm like, that is a very meritorious thing of you. How long do you sit in that though if I'm in that funk for a year? That's difficult.
It is difficult. I'm not dismissing it or anything like that, saying that it's not difficult. It's me saying I signed up for it.
You have more. Continue.
It's me saying that I signed up for it. I walk by faith. I signed up for it, but I signed up for it with God. So we finna get through this through prayer. If I got to call on the whole church to just stand outside the house and we going to treat this like the wall of Jericho and we just going to march around this house until the spirit of depression falls off of you, then that's what we finna do. We about to treat this whole thing like the wall of Jericho. I don't care.
I don't get the reference.
It's okay. So in the Bible, let's see, it's Old Testament. It's within like the first 5 books, I believe. I'm horrible with addresses.
Don't block your mouth.
Sorry. Within the first 5 books, I believe I'm horrible with biblical addresses. And the Israelites were going to take over their new home that God had promised them. And a part of it is that they had to go there and they had to like circle around this particular building, and they were supposed to march around it 7 times in silence, and then on the 7th time they were supposed to let out a loud war cry, and when they did that, the walls came tumbling down. So when I say to you that if you were in this state where it is a mental hold that is on you, if I gotta gather the elders and the leaders of the church so that we can envelop you and completely walk around and pray around and have the walls of whatever is holding you come down in the mighty name of Jesus, then baby, that's what we finna do. That's what we finna do.
There's some symbolism that I heard in this. Because I would tell you, if you're in a funk, go walk around 7 times and then just scream. Tell me if you feel better after that. I play too much.
I love you, though.
Thank you. I've been trying to get through this whole episode without staring at your boobies, and I think I did a decent job at it. We're coming up at the end of the episode. We covered a lot of the things that we set out to cover here in this episode, and it went by fast. Even though we didn't have the abbreviated beginning that we did, it's still, we were a lot faster getting to it. And I'm thankful for a couple of different things. That even though we talked about accountability, we still brought the entertainment factor to this episode.
Because this us. Like, we don't know how to do anything without being engaging and entertaining.
B, we got these upgraded microphones, and I know it sounds a lot better.
Baby, let me upgrade you.
Next week, our episode is the final thing of our anagrams. I don't know what the right thing is, where we'll be talking about love.
So many people.
Never mind. And then after that, I think I have it set up to where we could have a call-in episode. So if anybody wants to come in and contribute to the conversation, we're going to have the lines open to do so, because we want to have more of an interactive live stream with people. So be sure to tap in. If you hadn't shared this on your social media platforms, share it with other people so that, you know, they can learn about us and about the topic. And ultimately, because why we started and the reason why we decided to do this is to just showcase that not everybody out there is trash. A good bit of people,
like a large portion, like it's a type portion type thing, but
are trash, but not everybody.
I mean, it really is like a shallow cesspool for dating in your 30s. But you know what? There is that one little drop of clean water in there somewhere, and we want you to find that drop of clean water.
No doubt. That's our episode for today.
It is? Oh.
Yep, I'm about to DOS boot your behind. So you can go home and watch X-Men 97.
Episode 5, I gotta go get in there. Yes.
To everybody that tuned in live, thank you. If you're not following our other platforms as well, go hit that follow button. In the description on most of our platforms is a link tree. We also have an Instagram and a TikTok where we post clips and things like that. So be sure to follow those as well. Again, hit the like button if you hadn't. That's what helps us out on the algorithm. And we out, y'all. Peace.
Wait a minute. Where's my kiss?
You be rushing the kiss. Ooh, that's the first time that we double kiss. I will never forget.
I know.
Here's the thing. Never. I can have Alzheimer's.
You just spoke in absolutes.
That is an absolute.
What you wouldn't remember with Alzheimer's.
That I'm going to,
Come here.
no.
Come
so
here. You haven't kissed me yet.
No.
You thought about it for a second.
Bye.